my best advice is that you are already enough. Now, knowing that, go get it.
Thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
People say only 1 in a million makes it as a pro athlete or in Hollywood, and you've done both. If you could credit your success to one thing, what would it be?
Perseverance. You know, it's funny you would just say that about the phrase 1 in a million. I remember I told my father I wanted to be a pro football player, and I'll never forget this. He was in the car. We were in the car driving together, and I don't have the best relationship with my dad. And he said, you know what, Terry, only 1 in a million ever get to make it to the pros. And I was like, dude, I'm 1 in a million. That's me. Like, that is me. And it hit me that the only way to make it was to think of yourself that way.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because you truly are. But people tend to think like that means someone else.
Right.
But I was like, no, I choose to think that's me. And that changed everything.
And how did you have the belief in yourself and then maintain it through all the hardships?
Well, you know, one thing is too, you can get to a point where, you know, I like to say you have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? There were things that I had to really just examine. There were times when my wife and I, you know, I told my wife when I met her, I said, look, first of all, I'm going to play in the NFL. And then after we play in the NFL, we're going to move to Hollywood. We're going to make movies. And she was like, okay. Now, again, we were little kids and the whole thing. I had a high top fade with a blonde streak, and we were just living our life. But I meant every word. But the deal is that we were like, that we faced many, many obstacles. But then you start to realize, okay, we don't have any money. But then you realize you can have no money anywhere. Like, if you're gonna be broke, why are we broke in Michigan? Let's be broke in LA, where we're at least around what we want to do. And so we decided if we were gonna be broke, we're at least gonna be broke where we were in the vicinity of the things we wanted to be around. And that changed everything too. And you start to get shots and get chances, and you're humbled, and you come back. I have a story. You mind if I tell you?
Please.
It's crazy. When I retired from the NFL and I was about to make that move into Hollywood and do the movies stuff, I had a friend who gave me many, many loans. He was so cool. He's my best friend. His name was Ken Harvey. He played on the Redskins. He was a big time player. He knew I was retiring. He was like, here, man, here's a loan, the whole thing. But I kept coming back to him, asking him for loans and asking him, like, can I get another loan? And he was like, yeah, here you go, man, here you go. And then probably 10 loans later, maybe 15, might be more than that.
Okay.
You're talking about bad financial management. I mean, I'm literally depending on this guy to support me. But in my mind, I'm just, you know, as a friend, that's what friends do. But, you know, so finally I called him up and I was like, hey man, I need another loan. He was like, I can't do it. I was like, what? I can't do it, Terry. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And you know, when your voice goes up that high, you know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But then when it was over, when I hung up the phone, I was mad at him. And I was like, how dare he? He's supposed to be my friend. He's supposed to give me, if I ask him, he's supposed to be, what kind of friend is this? And then all of a sudden, a little voice hit me and it said, Terry, why are you mad at the only person who helped you in the first place? I was like, what? He was like, no, listen, why are you angry at the only person who helped you in the first place? And I went, oh my God, I'm wrong. And see, and this is the deal. To find success is in those moments. The moments when you're off. You don't see it. You don't know it. You're alone. But you hear a little voice that says, you know what, maybe it's me. Because anytime you point out that someone else is the cause of your problems, you're wrong. It's you. And I went the next day and got a job at a place called Labor Ready, where you basically go there and show up and they give you a job to do manual labor for the day. They gave me a broom. I was sweeping a factory all day long for 8 hours, $8 an hour. I'll never forget it. And this is the thing, my wife was telling me the whole time I needed to get a job, but I was like, oh, I'm super cool. I'm a pro football player. Let me tell you something, I was so humble. I was sweeping that factory thinking, oh my God, my life is over. Because you think if you go that low, you're gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
I kept sweeping, kept doing it. I had $64 at the end of the day. I went, oh my God, I actually made this money on my own. I was never broke again. I never stopped working.
That was the turning point.
That was when I tell you the turning point, because you realize you're willing to do what it takes. See, people say they're willing, and then when it gets down to it, can I get another loan?
Right.
But I had to figure out, was I really, really willing to do what it took? And that was it.
Did you pay him back?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What did you owe him?
You know what? It was more so, I paid him back because we're publishing a book together.
Wow.
And
so your friendship
continued. He was already
continued.
rich, so it's like one of those things where it's like, because the loans were really minimal, but to me they were giant. But I paid him back in just thanks and continued friendship, because he was a real friend to me. He really taught me a lesson. I was like, man, whatever you need from me, I got you. And so we've been supporting each other for the last 20, 25 years.
Wow. That's a great story.
It's a great story, I gotta tell you. I know it's long, but it's really a good story.
What are some of the other big money mistakes that you've made?
Oh, when I was in college, I got married in college, sophomore. I was the day before my my 21st birthday, I got married. Okay, so I was 20 years old. And I had every credit card you could get, because in school, they gave you a card. There were people who had full-time jobs, and they were like, I can't get a credit card. My mother was like, how'd you get a credit card? I was like, what? I got 4. She's like, 4 credit cards. You have 4 credit. I was like, yep. I had a Discover, 2 American Expresses, I had a Visa, I had a Mastercard. That's 5, but I had them all. And I ran those suckers up. I bought VCRs back in the day. See, I'll let you know how old I am. VCRs, TVs. I bought furniture for my apartment. I was like, and I could not pay it back. Heartbreaking thing. I had so much debt that the neighbor in my apartment complex came down, had one of those long corded phones. It wasn't cordless. It was one of those long corded phones. He was like, dude, the bill collectors are calling me about you. I was like, oh, I got a problem. Can you imagine getting a knock on the door and the bill collectors are calling your neighbors?
No.
That was nuts.
What did you do?
I was like, hey man, sorry about that. I slammed the door. Let me tell you, I took the stuff back. I had to take the stuff back to the store. You couldn't, it didn't pay it off anyway, but I had a huge mountain of debt. Huge, and it was just ridiculous. And my wife the whole time was like, don't do this. Don't do this. But my biggest mistake is that I was always trying, every money mistake I ever made is because I was trying to keep up with people that I was trying to impress, and I really didn't like anyway. You know what I mean? It was all about the image, and if I look like this, I'll be better. I'll be more accepted. If I look like this, if I have these things, all of a sudden the answers will be there. But the thing is, and it's funny because it's just like some sitcom, the answer was inside you all along. You know what I mean? People just kind of hear that, but it's really true. And those mistakes didn't stop. I mean, it was for a while. It took a long time because I was really, really into the material, into the image. And a lot of times, even in my personal life, it was not good. But as long as I looked good, and then, let me tell you, this is the big thing the whole world is figuring out right now, is that the image means nothing. And this is one of those things that it gets past money, it gets past all this stuff, because what happened is, and I tell you this all the time, success is the warmest place to hide. Because all the trappings, all the images, all the things, the cars, the homes, the make you look good, the clothes and all this stuff, and you are empty inside. You're a horrible person. You have major, major issues. Let me tell you, it's deeper than money. and it goes beyond. And I think the whole world is realizing, wait a minute. You have to be, that image has to line up with who you really are. And I think we're just finding out right now more than ever that it's so important that the inside is good and that people are actually good people.
Absolutely. So back then you were dead broke and you were spending beyond your means. How has your life changed now that you have money?
Well, you know what? This is so strange to say. I was always broke when I was trying to do things for money. Like, how much money can I get when I do this? And you turn things down because they're not paying you enough and this and this. And so you're always chasing money. Everything changed for me when I stopped doing anything for any money at all. I totally just was like, you know what? I don't care what you pay. I need to get this for me. So I would take a job that I looked at it was a brilliant, wonderful opportunity, and I didn't care what they paid me. One of the big opportunities I had that really got us out of debt is I started doing security for motion pictures and movies and TV and all this stuff. And let me tell you, it was a very satisfying job because I was in the business, I was making a little money. I mean, it was like $12 an hour, but I was happy because here I am in the business I want to be in. And I didn't care about the money anymore. And I told my wife, I'm like, you know what? If this is where I'm going to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm happy here. And then money just started to come. Let me tell you something. It was crazy. People were like, man, you the best security guard in the world, man. We need you over here. We need you over here. And then I had people coming to me and saying, man, you're too big for this. Like, you need to be on TV. You need to be in front of the camera. I was like, no, I like it here. It was so weird. And one thing I discovered, and this is one thing I've been telling a lot of people, is that there is really no such thing as money. There's only equity and honor. Equity is value given for value received. If you are really pleased with the service that I'm giving you and you're really happy with it, or something that I sold you that or gave you that you love, you give me money to represent that.
Right.
But it just represents equity and honor. And the honor part is for a job well done, if you do it really well. Now, you have a lot of people who are doing very, very bad things and thinking they're rich. So there's a lot of things that have no equity or no honor, but make money.
Right.
And the deal is are you truly rich? Because remember, what money is equity and honor. And my thing is, when I discovered that, I was like, I always have to go after the equity and honor. Just do really, really good things. Really, let me tell you, it's like, even after last year, when we faced this whole thing with my agency and you know, I had my Me Too moment and I came forward with my story, I had to go home and I said, Rebecca, Hollywood's over. We're done.
You thought that was the end?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, people were like, oh, you're done. I mean, if people were told like, okay, your career's over. And I was like, it is, but I have my equity and I have my honor. I said, we need to stand up for people who can. And all of a sudden, all the other opportunities, I have more money now than I've ever had in my entire life. More jobs, more opportunities. I have to turn down tons of opportunities because I just can't even fit them in the schedule. Because people understand equity and honor. Right. But some people think, I got a lot of money. We all know that guy who is, first of all, scamming people. Mm-hmm. The product is less than good, but you need it. Gouging people because, okay, we need some water. We don't have any more water. It's in the middle of a disaster. Well, now the water is $100 a gallon, you know. And people make money, but they don't have any equity or honor, and it all falls away. And that sounds real existential or spiritual, but it's for real. It's not even a joke. And I'm telling you, I will preach this to the day I die.
Is there something that is worth it to you that you're willing to splurge on?
Oh yeah, my clothes.
Your clothes?
Well, look, my thing is.
Well, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Listen, well, you know, and now this is another thing. Is it really a splurge if you are getting out of it what you need? Like a lot of times, for me, like getting dressed today, it helps me do a better interview, and it helps me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
And it helps me feel better about everybody around me. And so all of a sudden, I'm like, this is worth it. But if I saved some money on a suit that was and it didn't look that good, but I was like, well, you know, all of a sudden it would hurt my interview. It would eventually hurt different things. So I am not against great things. And I think it's all about what you value, what you're about. And you can call it a splurge. It's funny because what's a splurge for me is a necessity for someone else. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. I love good clothes because it makes me feel great.
Yeah, like what's the designer you're wearing today?
You know what? I designed it myself.
Really?
Oh no, this is my own, all the way down to the shoes. We did this all ourselves.
Wow.
That's the thing. I spent the money into making my own things because I'm an artist myself, so I can do it.
Yeah.
And so we picked the fabric, we picked the whole thing. I find a guy who's like the designer, and we get it all together. And it's me and my friend, and we make our own clothes. Wow. It's so cool, man.
Is there something that you refuse to spend money on? That you're like, not my hard-earned cash.
You know, I won't spend money on a lot of like tickets for things. Like this one big thing that I remember buying season tickets one time to a football game. And I bought NFL season tickets. And I was like, you know, this is cool. But then I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? I would much rather be working out and making money. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I am wasting 4 hours. No, more than that. It was literally a 6-hour jaunt to try to go to a game. And I was like, first of all, I could watch it on TV. Secondly, I don't even have to watch the whole game. I can watch just the highlights. I won't miss a thing. And I could get another job. And so there's things that to me, I was like, I'm not gonna, and I had to give those tickets up. I was like, that's a waste of money for me. I had to find out that was, because I thought, oh man, it's gonna invite my friends, invite my thing, but I was like, you know what, I really would rather get another job.
Well, you have a lot of jobs.
I know, it's crazy.
You've got Brooklyn Nine-Nine coming back.
Yes.
You're hosting America's Got Talent.
Yes.
You have a furniture line, a book coming out.
Yes.
How do you fit it all in?
First of all, you know, this is another thing I found out, is that by giving up those season tickets, I could go and design another furniture line. So on Sunday, I just sit down. The 3 hours that I would have been watching a game, 3 hours is where I would have designed my new couch and my new love seat and my new chair. And then I watched the highlights and I didn't miss a thing. You realize, once you start to do inventory, it's almost like looking at your budget, but your time is like that too. And I started to look at all the things where I was like, you know what? And I'm going to get real raw right now. I'm going to get real deep. When I gave up pornography, I had more time than you could ever believe. I was like, I got 3 more jobs. When I got rid of that addiction, I was like, I was wasting so much time. And you don't get that back. And I was like, wow, I gotta get rid of this, because I was like, I can do three more jobs. Let me tell you, it made me a better person. I felt cleaner, I felt great, I felt good. And it's like, oh my God. And I used to do security outside of bars, but I watch guys come right out of work and spend the whole evening in the bar, go home and go to work. Now, they could have a whole other job, they could have a whole other life, they could have a whole other career, but they sit in the bar and complain about the job they just spent 8 hours in. And I was like, wow, I can't do that. And I watched and I said, that's something I can't do.
So change your habits, change your life.
That's it. It's because we're talking about money, but it all relates. You know what I mean? It's really relates. Because when you look at African American culture, a lot of times it was, let's wear the gold, let's wear the jewelry, let's buy the most expensive thing, because you would in society you felt ignored. And there are lots of deep psychological things. And then the moment you do feel recognized, you don't need the jewelry anymore. You know what I mean? It's really wild. It's kind of like once you started, like, I can afford that car that I've always dreamed about, but then you go, you know what? I didn't want, because I feel satisfied in who I am, I don't need it that much anymore. And that is the trick, because a lot of this stuff is all based on how you feel about yourself. You know what I mean? I need this. I realized for freaking 30 years, I was walking around just trying to increase my own presence to the world. I was buying all this stuff to feel like I was a human being. But I was already. You qualified. You're priceless. You're good.
And what changed for you? Where did you get that epiphany?
You know, it happens in several stages. You know what I mean? And again, I have to be totally honest here. My wife has been so brutally honest with me the whole time, because unless you have someone in your life that can tell you the real truth, I don't think you can ever get it, especially as a guy, because men are the most delusional human beings on the face of the earth. Like, I have to say, women are a lot more they deal with themselves in a more real way, but we live in an action movie. You know what I mean? Like, if you let us go, we'd have a whole nother narrative. We have a whole story that we can live and think it's great. And people are like, hello, hello. And you're like, no, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I'm gonna jump off the building now. You're like, no, don't do it. But that's the way we are. And my wife was always like, no, you can't jump off the building. Don't do that. No, you can't do that. And I would do it. And she's like, you see how you wrecked yourself? You see that? And I'm like, oh, I get it. And now I started listening.
Our audience watching today, they want to make it. They want to achieve their potential. Yes. They look up to you. What is your best advice for them?
First of all, my best advice is that you are already enough. Now, knowing that, go get it. See, you see how it is? It's like ambitiously content is what I tell people. Really, no, you have it. It's all in you. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to compete. You don't have to fight. Just be creative. But go. Do it. Now. Like, do not hesitate. And I mean, work on your endurance. Work on the fact that you need to do it faster, better, and do it all day without being tired. But also know that you're enough. You can do both at the same time. Without the stress, without the pain, without the, I gotta do this. No, relax. It's all good. You're good. Now, just go as far as you can every day. And you'll just keep getting farther and farther. And I'm telling you, you'll wake up and you'll be made it. You will have made it. And you'll be like, oh, it was good. It didn't come with any stress. It's good stuff.
Well, thank you so much. This was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. These were great questions.
Talking to you.
Oh, good questions.